View House Centennial, and you know, we got Buffs to talk about, we got Broncos to talk about. We couldn't just pick one, so we got to bring in our guy, our favorite, Charles Johnson, CJ in the house. Got the insignia on going on. CJ, thanks for joining us. We got a lot to talk about. How you doing?
I am doing well, Romy. How are you doing? It's good to see you.
You know what? I'm doing great. Even better now that you're here. And since we're sitting down with a former quarterback, we got lots of quarterback talk.
Let's talk some
Let's
quarterback.
dive right in. Before
Yes.
we jump into Chiefs week, you know, there's a lot of conversation going on about Bo Nix right now. And is he regressing, or is it just a mismatch with Sean Payton? Where are you right now on Bo Nix 10 games into the season?
You know, I think oftentimes with coaches, particularly offensive-minded coaches, they sometimes forget that less is more. You always hear analysts and football minds talking about a quarterback's transition from year one to year two, having more of the playbook thrown at them. I think oftentimes that's just a mistake, right? If it's working, it's working. And you adjust to how defenses adjust to you. And so if they're going to take something away from you, then you counter that. But to just throw more stuff for the sake of doing it in the mix oftentimes can confuse or make more complex a job for a quarterback. And I think we're beginning to see some of that with Bo Nix right now.
So looking at kind of the rest of the season, what do you think is the recipe for success for Bo in this offense?
I think you just simplify it. You know, I'm watching Bo, and I saw a guy who technically was so much better a year ago because the game was so much simpler. I get the sense that his sort of technical challenges, his throwing motion, his feet are oftentimes not very good. It's not because he forgot how to play quarterback. It's that you can tell that there are so many things going on in his head that he's not comfortable, he's not ready. His pre-snap sort of preparation or reads aren't coming as natural as they did a year ago. And that's why I think you just take some of the stuff back and say, just be a quarterback. Go out and do what you've been doing all of your life. And I think we'll see a better Bo if that's the case.
And the one thing that he's got is this incredible defense to rely on, that no matter what going on, he's keeping them in the game, run by your guy, VJ. What has made this defense so successful? Is it VJ? Is it the personnel? Is it both? What is it?
You know, it's interesting. I think the principles are the same with respect to the defense. Keep it simple, right? I think Vance has done an amazing job of maximizing the skill set of his defense. Nick Bonito is one of the best defensive players I've seen in a long time in terms of getting off the ball. So he allows him to just play to his strength. I think Cooper on the other side equally. He's a two-gap. He could be a two-gap guy. He plays, you know, strong at the line of scrimmage, and he can also rush the passer. Two inside guys who can compress the pocket. And when you have a cornerback, I know Patrick Surtain is out right now, but again, Vance just does an amazing job of playing to the strengths of his personnel, and as a result, I think the best defense in the league.
100%. It has been so much fun. It's been fun watching VJ have so much success with them. And of course, you got Chiefs week coming on. You got Kansas City coming on. And Kansas City, this is a situation that we're not used to. They're a little bit more desperate for this win than the Broncos are. Is it possible that this game means more to KC than it does to Denver?
Well, I think it does, actually. I mean, they have some room to make up. And so they have a little bit more pressure on them to win the game. That said, I do think it's important for Denver because despite the 8-2 record, that team and this fan base are still wondering. I've never seen anything quite like this. You're 8-2 and you're wondering, are we really any good? This is a game right here that I think is equally important for both teams. KC knows that they need this game in order to be viable for the playoffs, and the Broncos are saying this is the first real litmus test for us to determine whether or not we're actually an 8-2 team. They say you are what your record says you are. I'm not sure if that's the case with the Broncos this year.
Going to be interesting, and I love it. I love that take. All right, we got so much more coming up here on Xfinity Monday Live with CJ. We're so happy you're here. Welcome back to Xfinity Monday Live here at the View House Centennial, and we always love talking Buffs with CJ because it brings back so many great Buffs memories. And hey, you know what, CJ? Feels like the Buffs might have found their next QB. We finally saw the real debut of Julian Lewis. What was your overall impression of what you saw?
I was extremely impressed with the kid. You could tell right off the bat that this kid is a quarterback, right? You have a lot of quarterbacks that play in college football today that are probably better athletes than they are quarterbacks. In a way, he's a bit of a throwback because he's a well-schooled quarterback. His footwork, I could tell how he's processing what's in front of him pre-snap. I'm extremely excited. I said, Romy, that this game, beating West Virginia was the objective, but really being able to identify for the team and for this young man himself the future of this football program, and I think we got that in spades against West Virginia with Julian Lewis.
You can kind of feel hope. So were you a better quarterback or a better athlete, CJ?
Actually, I think I was a better quarterback than an athlete. You know, you had a guy like Darian Hagan who was just amazing at both.
Yeah. Okay, I absolutely love that. There's been a lot of talk about what's this program going to look like next year, and Prime has kind of alluded. He's made some changes. He made a change in his play caller. What changes would you like to see, whether that's staff, whether that's player personnel, next season?
I think it all starts with staff, and I think, quite frankly, we have to be better coordinated offensively. I think Caden Salters, for all of his challenges, I don't know that we did much to help him bring out the best of what he, was capable of delivering. And so, look, that's a chapter behind us. I think moving forward, I would love to see an offense that's just well coordinated, very efficient, able to take advantage of this kid's skill set when we talk about Juju Lewis. And I think with the move, a splash move in that regard, it doesn't have to be a big name, but a move in that regard, it'll also go a long way in being able to recruit the type of athletes that we know Coach Prime is capable of recruiting.
Going back to Juju, what do they need to do to kind of develop and make sure that he stays on the right path?
Well, I think that's part of it. A big part of it is the coordination of it. You got to run the football in college football, in my opinion. The best friend for a quarterback, people talk about the offensive line, but if I can stay on schedule, 2nd and 6 or better, staying ahead of the chains, that's just awesome for a quarterback. And I think, for Colorado's offense, with a guy like Julian Lewis, who is, again, he plays the game from the neck up. And if you could just keep him on schedule, keep him from obvious passing situations, keep this offense, ahead of the chains, that's going to go a long way. And I think that's an offensive mindset. And once CU gets to that point, it allows its big play threats to actually, kind of take root. Speaking
of from the neck up, you see the hair sack?
I had never seen anything like that. I mean, I had to cringe. I don't have any hair, and I grabbed my hair. It was like, is it still there? Yeah, that was that was painful.
Yeah, my hair still hurts just thinking about it. So, anyway, that's neither here nor there. We got so much more coming up here on Xfinity Monday Live, but right now we got to take a break and get caught up on our news and weather. And for that, we send it over to Michael back at the station.
Hey, Romy, great conversation as always.
All right, Michael, thank you so much. It's time now for The People Want to Know. The People Want to Know brought to you by Common Spirit, official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos and champions for the communities we serve. I know it's been a minute since you played, but Tommy wants to know, did you have any game day superstitions?
Why'd you have to point out that it's been a minute?
I'm sorry, it hasn't been that long. That was rude. I'm leaving.
It's been a few minutes.
Only a minute?
Only a minute. I did. It was I didn't want to talk to people like too close to when I knew I was playing. I didn't want to talk to people because that just boggled up my mind, and I wanted to focus on the task at hand. And so I just would stay clear of big mouths.
Okay, I like that. What was your favorite uniform combination?
Oh, I loved our home uniform. I loved the black jerseys, gold pants.
Yeah.
That was it for me. And I would always wear a Bible verse on my sleeve, Psalm 133, and would always have Sal Anesi, who was my fallen teammate at that point, on my other wristband sleeve.
That's beautiful. I wish they would just wear that traditional home uniform.
Yes.
A little bit more. We're pulling for that.
Yes.
All right, that was The People Want to Know, brought to you by Common Spirit. We got to take a break. Up next, we're going to catch up with CJ on what he's doing lately. We'll hear about it on the other side. Tonight, to be sitting down with CJ, and you can catch CJ quite often, a couple times a week, with your buddy Big Al, two of our favorites in the market. You started a podcast. What do you hope fans get out of this podcast?
Well, I mean, we wanted to do something a little different, not necessarily, type A sports kind of podcast. We talk a lot of sports. We talk a lot of Buffs, a lot of Broncos. But we talk a lot of sports and culture. We span outside of your rudimentary day-to-day, sports talk. So, and with Big Al, you never know what may come up. So you just have to stay tuned for every moment of that show.
How often do you have to like steer him back on track?
There's no such thing as steering him back on track. You know, I'll give him a wink or a nudge and hope that he decides to come back in, but it's all good. The guy is such a special sort of personality that you just want him to be himself, and trust me, he has no problem doing just that.
Absolutely, we love it. That's why it's so good. You've got these two great personalities. What are you enjoying about entering into the podcast world?
The freedom to be creative. We have meetings all the time to talk about, you know, kind of set parameters as to what we're going to do for a show. And then life happens. Yeah. And you just have to be nimble and ready to deal with it. And I love that. So, you know, he has a Ray Charles imitation that I think is, if you tune in, you'll see it at some point, but the guy is just incredible. And so I love the spontaneity and the creativity of it.
I cannot wait. I need this Ray Charles impression. I got to tune in. You can always find it Gorilla Sports on your YouTube page.
That's right.
Is that the best place to find it?
That's exactly right. The Big Al and CJ podcast, Gorilla Sports, and of course on all your social media platforms.
Oh yeah, they post a ton of great clips as well. Hello everyone, thanks for logging on to cbscolorado.com. Time now for a few extra minutes with former Buffs quarterback Charles Johnson, CJ. We were talking Broncos, we were talking Buffs. If you missed it, let's do a little bit of both. Let's start with the Broncos. Huge matchup against the Chiefs. How crucial is this game at this point in the season, 8-2, and you know the history of the Chiefs, 9-time AFC West champs?
Listen, it's a crucial game for both teams. Kansas City, with their slow start, they need this to continue their momentum and getting back in the playoff picture. And for the Broncos, despite the fact that they're 8-2 and a few games ahead of Kansas City in the division, this is a prove-it kind of game for themselves. It's important for that locker room. And so it's 8-2, ugly 8-2, but 8-2 nonetheless. And I think this game will go a long way if they can get a win and prove to themselves and to their fan base that we are legit.
They always say you are what your record says, 8-2. Are they what their record says?
Yes, but. Okay. it's been an uneven 8-2. And really the strength of this team, or what one thought would be the strength of this team, or its offense with Sean Payton, a year under Bo's belt, that they would be a lot better. It's not been the case. They got to get that right. And I think in order for them to make a legitimately deep playoff run.
All right, let's skip over to the Colorado Buffaloes and renewed excitement with the debut of freshman Julian Lewis. This season is a little bit, they're out of bowl eligibility. We realize what the rest of it is. So what's important in your mind the rest of the season that this team accomplishes, especially kind of regarding Juju?
I thought the Arizona game was a must-win game for Colorado. We got blown out at home against Arizona. Then I said the West Virginia game with Juju Lewis named the starting quarterback was the beginning of the 2026 season in my mind. And what was important there was being able to capture the imagination of our fan base and for Juju himself to project and see himself as the leader of a very successful 2026 CU Buffs team. Mission accomplished. And so what I love to see for the last two games of the season is just that progression continuing on, to see more of this kid and the maturation of Juju Lewis. And with that, I think the fan base re-engages in a way that we like to see, as well as recruits out there who are saying, yes, that's a team, much like many recruits saw Shedeur Sanders as an NFL caliber quarterback who can go and be a part of that team. They'll see Juju Lewis in the same light.
There's certainly hope renewed. When you looked at Juju's game and you kind of got this nice, good sample size now, what are you most impressed about, and where do you think he has the biggest room for growth?
I think the growth is just physical maturity. He's a young kid. He came on campus as a 17-year-old, what should have been freshman or senior in high school, but he was a freshman on campus. I've seen him physically mature even over the course of this year. That will continue. So the things that he needs to improve on, I think, are things that happens naturally. What I love about the kid is that he is a schooled quarterback. You can see quarterback all over this kid. He's not an athlete that's learning how to be a quarterback. He is a quarterback, and I could see how he processes pre-snap reads, his footwork, how he manipulates the pocket, eyes downfield, always looking to throw the ball downfield, and he's a good enough athlete to be able to keep the chains moving if pressure bears down on him. So I got to tell you, I'm a fan. Romy, I'm a fan,
Hey.
big time. So
Well, I was already a fan, but now that we got the CJ stamp of approval, we are feeling good about it. Start of the 2026 season. I like it. We'll look at it that way. CJ, such a treat. Thank you for taking the time
Pleasure's
today.
mine.
We appreciate you.
Indeed.
Guys, thanks for logging on. We'll see you next time.